The abuse, it was horrendous. I was tortured. I never thought a human being would go through what I went through and live.
For this woman, we'll call her Sarah, the suffering began when she was kidnapped in her early teens. Forced to engage in stripping and prostitution, Sarah endured horrific physical and mental abuse.
Having gasoline poured on me while they held the match. Being kicked and stomped on, being drugged by my hair. Having 15 guys circle me and stomp me, and I mean literally stomp me.
As traffickers moved her from city to city, town to town, fear, not shackles, kept Sarah from breaking free.
Fear of my family being harmed, fear of myself being harmed or killed, believing that my traffickers would carry out what they said they would do. Fear of no one believing me. Going to the police was not an option at the time, so I thought. I was brainwashed to believe that no one would help me. If anything, it would put me in more danger or even put me in jail.
Sarah's story is tragically typical for many victims of human trafficking, a modern-day form of slavery happening in the U.S., which forces tens of thousands of women, children, and men into brutal conditions for little or no pay. Many are forced into commercial sex. Others end up working in hotels and restaurants as domestic servants, on farms or in sweatshops. Esmeralda, a name we gave her, was just 11 years old when her mother in Guatemala sold her to a Guatemalan man who turned her into his sex slave. Smuggled into the United States, she endured long days of cooking, cleaning, and childcare, and nights of repeated rapes and brutality.
He told me that he paid money for me and that he can do whatever he wants with me. In that room where I used to sleep, he used to hit me, like, you know, I used to bleed and everything because we have a carpet in the room. It was blood everywhere.
While traffickers find some victims in the U.S., often their targets, like Esmeralda, come from other parts of the world: Latin America, Africa, the former Soviet Union, and Southeast Asia.
It's important to realize that although people might have been brought here willingly, when they do arrive to the United States, that they're put in positions that they had no idea they would be placed in. They're either forced into prostitution or some type of slave labor. And it's important that we look at them as victims and not as criminals.
Jail could be better because, you know, people they will feed you and they know that you're there. But that house, nobody know that I was there. I was like, that I won't do nothing. It's like, I'm not there.
Traffickers rely on brutal tactics, emotional and physical bondage, to enslave their victims.
He told me if somebody asks you if I'm your husband, just tell them I'm your brother or something. You better not say nothing. If you say something, I'm gonna kill you. That was he telling me. He used to get a knife and put it in my neck over here, so he was gonna kill me.
Traffickers use a variety of methods to keep their victims enslaved. We've seen everything from force, fraud, or coercion, ranging from physical beatings and torture to psychological intimidation or threats to their family members back in their home country.
Human trafficking occurs across the U.S., in big cities, small towns, and rural areas. It's unlikely that victims will be found and rescued in significant numbers until the American public gains a much